Berlin has broken its own blockade. With Gaza under a tense ceasefire, Germany is lifting its arms ban on Israel, calling it a response to regional progress. But critics warn the timing could ripple far beyond Europe's borders. As diplomats celebrate and activists rage, one question cuts through the calm. What does this reversal unleash? In a major policy reversal that is expected to have significant regional implications, Germany has announced that it will lift restrictions on arms exports to Israel after 3 months of a stringent ban, citing a stabilised ceasefire in Gaza and recent diplomatic progress in the region. German government spokesperson Stefan Cornelius confirmed the development on November 17th, saying the government based its decision on the ceasefire between Israel and Hamas that has been held since October 10th and has shown signs of stabilisation in recent weeks.
The restrictions on arms exports to Israel announced in the federal government's press release of 8th of August 2025 will be lifted. The lifting of restrictions will take effect on 24th November 2025. The background to this is that we have always said here that we would review this practice in light of developments on the ground. And as you yourself just mentioned, we have had a ceasefire in Gaza since October 10th, which has also fundamentally stabilized. We expect everyone to abide by the agreements that have been made. That includes maintaining the ceasefire, that includes providing humanitarian aid on a large scale, and continuing the process in an orderly manner, as agreed.
Germany also pointed to ongoing efforts toward a sustainable peace framework and increased humanitarian aid deliveries into Gaza as key factors influencing Berlin's decision.
Once again, as I was just trying to say, the current situation on the ground means that since 10th October we have had, among other things, a ceasefire, which I would say is the most important point. But there are a whole series of other criteria that have changed in the situation today compared to when the hostilities were still ongoing. And all of this forms the basis for us being able to make this decision now. That includes the ceasefire, that includes humanitarian aid, of course, and that includes both sides, Israel and the Palestinian side, adhering to the agreed process, that is the coordinate system, so to speak, in which this decision was made. But of course, the federal government is constantly monitoring developments in the Middle East and is in ongoing dialogue with the parties involved. We have spoken here many times about how often the chancellor, and that is why I am now pointing to the right, the foreign minister travels to the region to hold talks with all those involved in the conflict, as well as with neighboring countries and mediating states. So in that sense, there is, if you will, a process of continuous monitoring, to use your words.
The decision by Berlin comes on the heels of high-level diplomatic consultations between German and Israeli leadership. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu recently spoke with German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, while Foreign Minister Gideon Saar held detailed discussions with his German counterpart Johann Wadefull, who made a visit to Israel in recent days. These diplomatic engagements took place against the backdrop of the ongoing ceasefire in the Gaza Strip, which officials say has created an opening for renewed security cooperation. Welcoming the decision, Israeli Foreign Minister Gideon Saar took to social media to express his gratitude to the German government and urged other countries across the international community to follow suit in reassessing their own weapons export policies.
I welcome Chancellor Merz's move to revoke the decision regarding the partial embargo. I call on other governments to adopt similar decisions following Germany.
The arms export restrictions were originally imposed by Chancellor Friedrich Merz on August 8th, when he ordered a halt to the approval of arms exports that could be used in the Gaza war. That decision came as a direct response to Israel's announcement of a plan to occupy Gaza City, which sparked international concern over the humanitarian situation in the besieged enclave. Germany's arms exports to Israel have long been a contentious issue, drawing sustained criticism from human rights organizations and becoming the subject of multiple legal challenges brought by rights groups and Gaza residents seeking to block weapons transfers. The European Centre for Constitutional and Human Rights, which has provided legal support to plaintiffs in their court actions against the German government, has repeatedly argued that Berlin's authorization of weapons exports to Israel violated international agreements to which Germany is a signatory, including the Geneva Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide. Germany ranks as Israel's second-largest weapons supplier after the United States, making Berlin's policy decisions on arms exports particularly significant for Israel's defense capabilities. The August restrictions did not affect essential weapon systems for Israel that are unrelated to the war in the Gaza Strip, nor did they impact defensive systems used against external threats from neighbouring countries. The German government's August move came in the immediate aftermath of the Israeli cabinet's decision to seize control of Gaza, a development that sparked international outcry and raised questions about the humanitarian situation in the Palestinian territory.